Hello everyone, welcome to 360 on History. Please check out the website 360onhistory.com, our YouTube channel 360 on History, and also join us on social media. Have you heard of the Defenestrations of Prague? First of all, how cool is the word defenestration? It means throwing somebody out of the window as punishment. It all starts with the House of Habsburg, also known as the House of Austria, an initially nondescript family from the mountains of Switzerland that rose up to become rulers of the Austro Hungarian and Spanish empires and of various other parts of Europe for over 700 years. They were one of the most important dynasties in European history from the 15th to the 20th centuries, ruling until 1918. You can check out more about them on our website 360onhistory.com. We have a video and blog post called The Habsburgs. The House of Habsburg was quite fascinating on its own, but it was also around at a very turbulent time in Europe. The Protestant Reformation that began in Germany was causing all sorts of problems in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries. The Habsburgs were Catholics and did not subscribe to the Protestant agenda, especially in the Netherlands and Bohemia, which is now Czechia, with its capital at Prague. Prague's history is marked by not one, but three extraordinary defenestrations, where individuals were thrown from windows, the first in 1419, the second in 1483, and the third and most well-known one in 1618. The term defenestrate is believed to have originated from these very events in Prague. The most famous one is where disgruntled Protestants hurled the two royal governors and their secretaries out of a window at the Prague castle in 1618. They subsequently penned a lengthy apology justifying their actions. Defenestration was not an uncommon practice in the Middle Ages and early modern period, often resembling lynching or mob violence culminating in murder. While the term Defenestration of Prague typically refers to the third event, the 1483 incident also holds historical significance. But let's start with the first defenestration. On July 30th, 1419, a mob of Czech Hussites, led by radical preacher Jan Zivlinsky, stormed the new town hall in Prague and defenestrated the burgomaster and several members of the city council, killing them all. The Hussites were a proto-Protestant Christian movement from Czechia that followed the teachings of reformer Jan Hus. This incident became known as the First Defenestration of Prague, marked a turning point in the Hussite Wars, a series of religious and political conflicts that engulfed Bohemia for nearly 2 decades. The defenestration was sparked by a growing discontent with the Catholic Church and the preconceived corruption of its leaders. Zalewski, a fervent advocate for Hussite reforms, had been rallying support for a more equitable society and a more accountable church. A stone thrown at him from the town hall was the final straw, igniting the mob's fury and leading to the violent overthrow of the city council. The death of King Wenceslas IV, who succumbed to shock upon hearing the news of the defenestration, further destabilized the region and paved the way for open warfare. The Hussite Wars, fueled by religious fervor and nationalistic aspirations, would leave a lasting mark on Bohemian history. Then, in 1483, during the reign of King Vladislaus II of Hungary, simmering tensions between Catholics and Utraquists. Then, in 1483, during the reign of King Vladislaus II of Hungary, simmering tensions between Catholics and Utraquists who were actually the descendants of Jan Hus and who advocated for receiving communion in the form of both bread and wine, reached a boiling point. Fearing for their diminishing influence, Utraquist radicals staged a violent coup in Prague's Old Town, New Town, and Lesser Town. The uprising culminated in the defenestration of the Old Town burgomaster and the bodies of 7 New Town councillors from their respective town halls. This tumultuous event, known as the Second Defenestration of Prague, marked a turning point in Bohemian history. It effectively curbed the power of the ruling elite and prevented a return to the pre-Hussite era when Catholicism held sway. On October 6, 1483, the 3 Prague municipalities signed a Treaty of Unity, ushering a period of religious reconciliation. Then in 1485, the Kutna Hora Assembly declared the equality of both Catholic and Utraquist churches. Finally, in 1618, Bohemian resistance to Habsburg authority resulted in the Third Defenestration of Prague. The Peace of Augsburg of 1555 settled religious disputes in the Holy Roman Empire by enshrining the principle of cuius regio, allowing a prince to determine the religion of his subjects. The Kingdom of Bohemia, which had been governed by Habsburg kings since 1526, had largely remained Protestant despite the ruler's Catholic faith. Previous kings had let the Protestants practice their own faith. However, in 1617, King Ferdinand II, a proponent of the Catholic Counter-Reformation, was elected King of Bohemia. Ferdinand's attempt to assert control over the Protestant nobility and restrict their religious freedoms led to the outbreak of the 30 Years' War in 1618. But first, the Third Defenestration. In 1617, the very Catholic Ferdinand of Styria, who became Ferdinand II of Austria, exerted his control over Protestant Bohemia and stopped the construction of some Protestant churches. He then had the Bohemian Assembly dissolved. On May 23, 1618, 4 Catholic emissaries arrived at the Bohemian Chancellery to discuss this with Protestant leaders. 2 of the 4 were deemed innocent of playing any part in stopping the construction. The remaining 2 accepted responsibility and awaited any punishment, which was for them to be chucked out of the window. They survived the 70-foot drop mainly because they fell on a large pile of manure. Talk about landing in a pile of, manure. This event contributed to the start of the 30-Year War, a brutal, religiously motivated war resulting in 8 million deaths in Europe. The first and third defenestrations had far-reaching consequences, igniting religious conflicts that extended beyond Bohemia's borders. The first defenestration sparked the Hussite Wars, while the third triggered the 30 Years' War. In contrast, the second defenestration brought a period of religious peace to Bohemia for 31 years, known as the Peace of Kutna Hora. More events of defenestrations have occurred in Prague during its history, but they are not usually called defenestrations of Prague and are not as famous. Prague's defenestrations serve as a reminder of the turbulent and often violent times of the past. They offer a glimpse into the political and religious tensions that shaped not only the city but Europe's history. Thank you for joining me on 360 on History. Please join me again next time for another fascinating episode. See you then.